just got back from the East Coast Rip Rap Festival, and this year at EARF they had a competition on how fast you could print a Benchy. And then we judged those Benchies based on print quality after they were done. So I thought this month it might be kind of fun to take a look at the settings that I would change in the slicer and in the firmware to be able to print faster. Now Walter and I from Country 3D did take a stab at this Benchy competition a couple of weeks before EARF, and we both kind of came in around the 19-minute mark. The Benchies don't look that great, but you can get them printed really fast. Also, all these tips that I'm going to give you are based on a Prusa Mark III. And a 9.3 machine probably isn't the machine you want to take to a speed competition. There are better alternatives, but it does hold its own pretty well. So let's walk through Prusa Slicer and I'll show you what I would change to get it to print faster. So let's just start with Prusa Slicer with some of the defaults that come with the slicer. We're going to start with the Prusa Mark III's defaults, the Prusament PLA defaults, and the 0.2 layer height quality printing profile. If you slice just with all these defaults 10% infill, you can knock that Benchy out in around an hour and 34 minutes, which is respectable. But we want to go a lot faster than that. Now a lot of these settings are going to be based on what type of plastic you're using and how much you can cool that plastic while laying it down really quickly. For everything that we're going to talk about today, we're going to be focused on PLA plastic because that's pretty much the most common. And with that in mind, let's start by talking about filament settings. So we'll head over to the Filament Settings tab. I want to lay down PLA plastic as fast as I can, but I want that PLA to be laid down on a layer that has already been cooled off. So I know that my overhangs will be correct and they'll look as good as they possibly can moving at that speed. So the cooler that I can print the plastic, the better in this case. This isn't going to work for all types of PLA, but if you're using probably a more inexpensive PLA, this is going to work just fine. So that might actually be beneficial for this type of challenge. For the first layer, I'm going to go with 190 degrees. All the other layers, 190 as well. This is about as low as I'm comfortable with going with any PLA. That's going to give us the best chance of cooling off that plastic quicker. And then if we head into cooling, you'll notice we have this Enable Auto Cooling here in Prusa Slicer. We're going to uncheck that. What auto cooling does is set a threshold for your cooling. So if your layer takes less than a certain amount of time to print, the auto cooling will actually slow your printer down so it has time to cool that layer off. This is going to impact you right out of the gate when you're trying to print faster. So we're going to turn that off and we're going to leave fan 100% for all the layers. We want as much cooling as possible for this test. All other settings in filament should be able to stay the same. So let's head back to the platter, and just to show you what kind of time saving that's going to be, I'm going to slice again. We're already down to an hour and 22 minutes just because of the cooling change. Now the next thing you're going to want to look at is what do you actually need to print on this model to get it done quickly. Again, we're going for speed here, not necessarily quality or strength. So let's jump into print settings. The first thing you're going to want to look at for sure is layer height. Now with a 0.4 nozzle, you should be able to almost print at a 0.4 depending on the printer. You don't necessarily want to do that, but we're going to go with a lot higher layer height because that's going to save us a lot of print time. So we're going to take the 0.2 to a 0.35. You could probably take it higher, but I think the 0.35 is a nice balance of speed versus quality. We're also going to take the perimeters down to 1. Again, we don't need the strength here, and that's what perimeters are going to buy you the most. More strength. Horizontal shells, top and bottom, that's just going to give you a lot nicer finish. So I want the finishes on top to be somewhat acceptable, so I'm going to set mine to 2, and I'm going to take the bottom layers down to 1. And before we go any further than this, let's see what just these changes will get us down to. We'll slice again. We're already down to 43 minutes, and we're well on our way of achieving our goal. Now the next thing we can look at is infill density. So let's hop back to print settings and we'll keep going. By default, some of the infill patterns are set to some of the more rigid infill patterns. We want to go with the quickest one possible. You either want rectilinear or grid. For this test, we're going to go with grid. And the infill density really needs to be set by sight. So if we jump back to the platter, let's go ahead and slice again. And let's take a look at what the infill looks like right now. Of course, this is going to depend on the model, but we're focused on the Benchy here. And on the Benchy, you're going to have some support for this storage box. If you don't, it's just going to dump infill into the inside of the model, and it might get hooked on the nozzle and cause it to fail. Now 10% might be just a little bit high for this speed test. I'm going to take mine down to 7%. And we can reslice again. This should be enough infill to keep it somewhat structurally sound, but support all the features that are needed. And it does buy us a little time. We're down to 42 minutes. So let's go back to print settings. I'm happy with the infill pattern. Let's go to skirt and brim. For this test, we don't need skirts or brims. That just wastes time. So we're going to set all of these to 0. Now you need to prime your nozzle somewhat before you print, but I suggest you do that with a prime line because you're going to get more bang for your buck when you're priming. So as far as speed to efficiency, the prime line is going to be a lot better. You'll see that in the G-code and the printer settings in a little bit. Support material we can just skip. And speeds is going to have a lot to do with it, but I think we'll tackle that last. The only other things you're really going to want to look at is the advanced features. Extrusion width, infill overlap, bridge flow, things like that. The default settings are going to get us where we need to go, but if you want to go further and tune and make it look as good as possible, this is where you're going to want to look. So let's move on to printer settings. And we'll start in custom G-code. Now your printer clock should not start until your extrusion starts. So your home and your leveling shouldn't matter on your print time, but just to be safe, I took them out. So I'm going to remove these 2 lines. That does mean you're going to have to home and level manually, but we're going for speed here, so we're going to have to do without some of the comfort features. We can get around that, no issue. And these lines are what I'm talking about when it comes to the prime line. You're running a really fat line over the front of the bed. That gets you primed. It's going to save you time doing the intro line versus doing a skirt or brim. So we're just going to leave that stock. Let's skip machine limits just for a second and go to extruder. Now the V6 does a great job on retraction. It's an all-metal hot end. You need very little. And Prusa sets theirs a lot higher than you probably actually need due to print quality. Also, they enable Z-lift by default, which takes time. Any print movement that you add extra is going to take a little more time to use, as well as how fast you retract. So to save just a little bit of time, I'm going to take retraction down to 0.2. I'm going to disable Z-lift. Not having Z-lift on shouldn't impact the Benchy at all. And then retraction speed, I'm going to take it up to 60. I want to be able to do those retract moves as fast as possible without hurting the printer. And after those changes are made, let's slice one more time and see where we're at. We're down to 37 minutes, so we're getting there. And we really haven't made any actual speed changes yet. But that's where we're going to go now. So let's go back to printer settings, and we're going to go to machine limits. Now technically all of these settings right here in machine limits are firmware settings. But in Prusa's slicer, it sets the machine limits with G-code every time you print, just in case something gets off in the printer's firmware. It's kind of a safety measure. So every time you slice a G-code, all of these commands get baked in and they get run for every print. So we can adjust firmware settings right here on the fly. Max feed rate is actually how fast the axis will go, and acceleration is how fast it can achieve that speed, so how fast it ramps up and ramps down. On other printers, if you're running Marlin, you're probably going to want to go in and change this in the firmware if you're tuning for speed. You can do it with commands if you want to, but it might be a little safer to do it in the firmware. Now your machine limits are definitely going to be based on the machine that you're using. The Mark III is a pretty nice machine, and it can print pretty fast, so we're going to get kind of crazy with these limits. So feed rate for as fast as X and Y can go, I'm going to allow it to go up to 500. This is based on the speed of the G-code that you're running, but this is the maximum limit. I'm going to keep Z and E down where they are at default. And then for acceleration on X and Y, I'm going to take them all the way to 9,000. At the limit of 9,000, you're basically saying that the G-code can do whatever it wants, just get it there as fast as possible. And then onto the jerk limits. This has to do with instantaneous movements. This is the minimum speed change that requires acceleration. So anything less than this, acceleration rules will be ignored, and it's going to try to do that movement instantaneously. You want to kind of be careful with how high you set this command, but for the speed test, I'm going to take it from 8 to 12 on both X and Y. That should still be a pretty safe value. We can ignore stealth mode because we're always going to run in normal mode. And just with those changes, let's go ahead and slice again and see where we're at. Still around 36 minutes because we really haven't told the printer to go faster yet. We just said you can if you want to. So now, let's make it faster. We'll go to Print Settings. We'll go to Speed. Now that we've made allowances for the machine, now we can start upping the speed of the G-code. And a lot of this is guesswork based on how fast you want to go and what the quality is going to look like. For the movements that you can see the most that are going to give you the best quality, I went a lot slower than I would for like travel moves or infill. So perimeters, I went 120. Small perimeters, 120. External perimeters, 120. And then infill, I went all the way to 300. Same with solid infill. Top solid infill, I left that at 250 because there could be a chance where that affects the quality of the print. Bridges, I jumped all the way up to 100. Gap fill, 100 as well. And travel speeds, I moved it from 180 to 300. First layer speed, I moved that to 120. And then I'm going to remove all the advanced acceleration control. We'll just set all these to 0. And then finally, our maximum print speed, we're going to take that to 300. Acceleration control allows the printer to decide what the acceleration would be set to while it's doing particular moves, not just as a printer as a whole. Again, we're going for speed here, so we don't want it to do any fancy adjustments that we can't control. That's why I set them all to 0. So back to the platter, and let's reslice now. Now we're getting to be a pretty fast Benchy. And when you mess with machine limits, these estimations are going to be a little more inaccurate because that's how it actually calculates them. If it knows what the default limits are, it can make a better guess. But I found this estimation is actually a couple minutes slower than when you run them from the SD card. And that's also something to note. If you're doing fast prints, you definitely want to run them from the SD card and not something like Octoprint. The communications for the SD card are going to be a lot faster. And that's my quick configuration of how to get a Benchy done as fast as possible while letting it still look somewhat pleasing on a Prusa Mark III. And here's a couple of my Benchies right here, and we'll take a look at them. These finished in around 19 minutes and 50 seconds. And it does make a lot of difference, the different grades of PLA plastic that you use. This Benchy was a 19-minute Benchy, but it was printed with some really affordable PLA plastic from Monoprice. This is just with the stock cooling fan going full blast. It did a really nice job on that overhang. For 19 minutes, this is a pretty nice looking print. If you look at the top surfaces, you can definitely tell it's a lot thicker layer line, but a pretty respectable 19-minute Benchy. And if we take a look at this one, this is the one I did alongside Walter during Fun in the Country Basement. This was done with Prusament, which is a lot higher quality plastic. But because of that, you couldn't lay it down at that cool of a temperature like you could with the cheaper PLA. Still doesn't look too bad. This is exactly the same G-code as that red one. But if you're doing a speed test like this, you're definitely going to want to decide what kind of plastic you want to use to achieve these results. So for as little tuning as I actually did with the slicer, the prints come out pretty nice for around 20 minutes. But there is one test that I wanted to do to see if it made any difference. And that is with the print going at the same speed, but it has a fan setting next to it. And the results on that one were also somewhat interesting. This is the side that was not facing the fan. You can see how the heat down here kind of soaked through. It made the overhang not look so great. But then if you look at the other side where the fan was, the overhang is a lot sharper, but we also have holes. My guess is the filament cooled down so much that it couldn't lay it down to the previous layer. Kind of cool. It's always the bad results that teach you more about all the different aspects of 3D printing. And there's my attempt at printing a Benchy as fast as possible. Now I learned a lot during this exercise, and this is something that I encourage everyone to try. Get in your slicer, it doesn't matter which one, and mess around with some of the settings and see what they do. It teaches you a whole lot about the 3D printing process in general. A big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. These videos are just for you, and I'll see you on the next coffee break.